Hello everyone, Josh first back again, giving you guys and gals out there some more Goddess of Genesis as content. And today, we're going to be going over my personal top 3 SRs at this time for free-to-plays in the game. It's going to be based on a few factors. We're going to be talking about each unit individually, and I'll explain why I feel that they're very, very good. And I'll even give a couple honorable mentions at the end, so definitely stay tuned for that. And if you guys need any help in this game, you can do so by asking me in my Discord in the description below. That's the best place to find me if you need any kind of help. We also have some other members in there that can help you as well. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it. So, let's go over here to our characters. Alright, so, one of my top 3 is right off the bat is Jester. Jester is a DPS powerhouse. He's an SSR DPS-wise in an SR unit, which means he's going to be a lot easier to 5 and 6 star. He's going to be easier to awaken. He's going to be easier to build up basically in every way possible, which makes him a very powerful free-to-play unit to utilize going forward. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that he can do. Excuse me. His talent, when HP is below 50%, increases crit damage by 25%. Now, crit damage is pretty huge for a unit that more or less you're going to be able to crit with quite a bit if you build him correctly. Increases his crit rate by 7% as well on that passive, so very, very nice. Their talents are basically their passives, so if you hear me say the word passive, I'm talking probably about their talent. Alright, his basic skill. Now, these aren't really that great on really any character for the most part, unless there's something that they can utilize in their skill set with their basic, or something that they can do with their artifacts, aka their gems. But in this case, it's just a basic, deals physical damage equal to blah blah on a single enemy. Nothing too special there. Now he does have he does have synergy with Loki. When combination heroes are deployed at the same time, basic attacks will become combination abilities. We have not really talked much about combination skills on here. We'll go over those probably in another video. But basically, you'll see that basic attacks have synergy with another unit if you're running that unit on your team. But a lot of times, you're not going to be running those two units. That's why we don't talk about it that much here on the channel, because it's not something that you're going to utilize too often unless it's between two units that are very powerful and you want to run both of them in the same team. And there are a couple instances right now in the game where there are a couple combination units that you want to run on the team because they're both individually good, on top of the fact that their synergy is also very decent. But for the most part, you really won't find yourself in that situation too often, so we kind of just overlook those for the most part, unfortunately. Moving along, skill triple strike, cooldown none. That is important to know. And it is a 2 energy cost skill. Strikes a single enemy 3 times. The first strike deals physical damage equal to 100% of strength. The second strike deals physical damage equal to 150%. And then the third does 250%. So that is a ton of single target damage. That is a ton. This ability ignores protection, which is also very, very helpful against a lot of those more tankier teams. So you're getting a maximum of, let's see here, 500%. 500% single target from an SR. Quite a bit of damage. Oh, by the way, all 3 of those play into his talent, which of course can increase crit damage by 25% and crit by 7. Those can crit individually. So again, that's a lot of damage. His ultimate, which is one of my more favored moves to use, and it is a very cheap cost ultimate as well. It's only 2 energy, and it has a 1-turn cooldown. I like to try and start a lot of my games utilizing this with another AoE, like from my Lilith, for example, and just, try and take down a whole wave after 2 hits. That's the game plan anyway. Doesn't always work out that way, but deals physical damage equal to 170% of strength to all enemies. 50% chance to inflict 1 stack of defense down. Now that is 1 stack per character. That is 50% chance per character. So if you're attacking a mob of, let's say, 5 enemies, that's 50% chance individually to land that defense down. Now, you also have to, of course, take into regards any kind of resistances, etc., accuracy perhaps missing or whatever. So there's a lot of things that could, of course, come into play of it still not landing, but the chance of it activating, of course, is 50%. And that is per individual character. So keep that in mind. That's why sometimes when you see AoE debuffs and you're wondering why is the percentage a little bit low, it's because it's an AoE debuff, which is very powerful already. So the percentage has to be a little bit lower to make it not completely busted. But it's still not a bad thing because, like I said, individual 5 units, for example, it's 50% chance each of it going off. So, laws of probability are you're going to get at least hopefully 2 or 3 to land, if nothing else, of course, keeps it from happening. But anyways, he enters stealth mode if hitting 3 or more targets, which is very, very nice. Stealth is very good because then they can't be hit with a single target attack for that turn, which is very, very good. Obviously, you can still be hit by an AoE, but, still, there's a lot of single target beasts out there, and to not be able to be hit by it, it's a good thing. Defense down, of course, is damage reduction minus 10% for 2 turns. Stacks up to 3 times, which means you can get that up to a damage reduction of 30% if you can get enough stacks off before they start to fall off. And stealth, of course, can't be targeted for 1 turn. So, again, single target skills cannot hit you. AoE can. Very, very good. And now for his support, if you want to run him as a support unit, Deadly Trick, 3-turn cooldown, 0 cost as usual for supports. Gain 1 energy when battle begins. Deals physical damage equal to 110% of strength to all enemies, which is obviously 60% lower than his normal ultimate. However, it's still a nice AoE coming off of the bench at 0 cost, and you gain energy from it. So even as a support, Jester is very good. All enemies, 50% chance to inflict defense down, like before, and that's pretty much it. Obviously, he's not going to gain a stealth from that like his other skill because, he's a support unit. After casting this ability, gains 2 energy, and then his ability, of course, will upgrade at 5 stars, which I'm not quite there yet. I'm at 12 out of 100, hoping to get him the 5 stars at some point soon. So, all in all, he's a very, very good DPS SR unit. If you're looking for DPS, you're looking for a dark unit to perhaps run 3 dark units or 5 if you're trying to get that damage increase by 10% or 20%. Jester is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I believe let me check his base speed. His base speed isn't too great for an assassin, but again, he is an SR, so his speed is still relatively high. But if you're running like a lot of other natural SSRs on your team, especially tanks that you want to go fast, you're probably purposely putting speed on the gear, especially through artifacts, that he might not outspeed everyone. So he might be more around probably like a 3rd or 4th unit that attacks on most people's teams, unless you build him specifically to go faster. That way you can set it for an early, 1-2 AoE punch if you want to try and take waves out quick. That's another thing you can do. But for me, I highly recommend running him more along the lines of DPS because that's really what he wants to do. That's what his whole kit is built around. So, I would probably give him, more strength as much as possible. I would give him more critical chance and, of course, critical damage, especially to make use of that passive that, it can go up to 25% crit damage. Why not increase on top of that and make him hit even harder? You know what I mean? Because right now, mine is currently sitting at 51% crit. I would obviously like to get that up way higher because I like to run 3 red and 3 purple because now I'm getting 15% crits and I'm getting that 10% damage increase. So with 15%, that would take him up to 66% crit. That's still not high enough for me. I would like to get him somewhere in the 70s to mid 80s. That way with that 15%, I'm getting him almost around 100%. Not to mention in PvP, a lot of players will be running crit resistance, RSL. I don't know why they decided to title it that way. They'll be running those on their tanks, and there's, obviously Valks and Draculas running around all over PvP, so you want to be able to crit them, so you're going to need a lot of crit. Even 100% crit is not going to be enough against some of these tanks because their crit resistance is going to be very, very high. So you definitely want to try and squeeze as much of that out of there as you can, especially for a unit like him, who is primarily a DPS, but a very good one at that, and probably one of the best DPSs as an SR, in my personal opinion. Now, moving on, what is one of my other top 3 favorite SRs? And by the way, these are in no particular order from first to second or third, or vice versa. This is literally just my top 3 kind of jumbled together of what I feel are my personal favorites and my personal best SRs in the game. So obviously Jester again is one of those 3. Now moving on to the second one, let's go ahead and go down. Let's go down. Oh, I already passed her. Right here, our girl Alice, the one that actually has an event up right now that you can farm her shards. Granted, those stages are not easy. If you're free to play, they're going to be very challenging, especially to complete all those individual little missions to get more shards. They will be hard, but you have time to try and farm as much of those as you can, plus pulling her from both the free banner, the general pull banner, and the, Genesis banners if you are using those as well. So you have plenty of chances to pull Alice. And you can see here, I've almost got my Alice to 5-star, and I cannot wait. What is her primary role going to be? Let's say you run an expensive team, okay, and you need an energy battery. You need someone that can just keep constantly refilling energy. She is that battery. Alice is a perfect energy battery, not only from the main slot, but also from the support slot. And on top of that, she also provides heals, and she can even be used as somewhat of a tank. She has that ability, and it's a zero-cost ability. It's absolutely phenomenal. Her kit is not built for damage. Her kit is built to support your entire team. She is an ultra support. She's going to be giving you some heals. She can be tank and energy. She is a batter. She's an energizer bunny. There you go. That's what she is. So let's go ahead. Oh, and by the way, she is fast AF. Look at that speed. SS speed. She is fast. She even outspeeds my Lilith. She's quick. And you want her to be quick because you want her to set up for those plays. She also has a cool little ultimate, if you'd like to use it, with Lilith. Speaking of Lilith, because she actually has AoE charms, which can also put an enemy to sleep. Though the enemy that you target can be put to sleep. So if you're looking for a combo with Lilith to make her do a ton of damage, because Lilith likes to detonate charms to do her ultimate and do a crap load of single target damage, then you could go ahead and pair her up with Alice. So you have a match made in heaven right there as well. So let's go ahead and go over all of her skills real quick so I can stop fangasming around. So her talent, after taking action, heals the 2 allies with the lowest HP by 40% of her intelligence. And intelligence and strength, if you guys don't know, intelligence is basically magic users, and strength is more physical damage dealers. But it's basically both attack. It means attack. It's just for the 2 different types of characters. Intelligence, strength. Same thing, guys, just for 2 different characters. After taking action, 30% chance to additionally gain 1 energy. So she has a 30% chance to gain 1 energy from her passive. Her passive, guys. 30% chance, 1 in 3 chance almost, of giving you a free energy just for her existing and doing something. And when we get to her skill, not her basic, but her skill, you're going to start to see why she's so good. Alright, so Dreamy Whisper deals magic damage equal to 100% of intelligence to a single enemy. You know, whatever. Here's where we start getting into the good stuff. Her skill and her ultimate and then her support. These are what's really going to be eye-openers for a lot of you. If you're not aware how she works, I'm about to explain it. You might be like, oh my god, I have her in my box. She's 4-star, 5-star. I didn't even think to build her. I didn't think she was that good. She looked kind of weird. She didn't look that strong. Hopefully I'm about to make you a believer today. So she gains 2 energy. 2. That's usually the price of a skill 2 or a skill 3 ultimate for most characters. She's giving you 2 free energy and enters guard status. So she can become a tank. Basically, because when you activate the guard, you're basically putting your character into like a defensive mode. So they take, so they get damage mitigation, but they can't do anything else. They can't usually do skills or anything like that when they go into guard status. However, she can be forced into guard status while also still giving you 2 energy. And that lasts for 1 turn. And by the way, guys, the energy cost for that skill is 0. 0. And if we go back to her talent, what does she do when she takes an action, guys? A possibility to gain 1 energy and heals 2 allies. What? For 0. I repeat, 0 cost. She is an energy. She's an Energizer bunny. She's an Energizer bunny. And she can be a tank because of how her skill 2 works. Just, what? Heal, energy, tank, all in one go for the price of 0. Insane. Insane. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Maybe you could. Alright, so her 2 cost, which is also, again, very cheap for ultimates, inflicts 1 stack of charm on all enemies and puts the target enemy to sleep. Now, that does not mean it's AoE sleep. It's 1 targeted enemy that goes to sleep, and they all get charmed. And the charm, like I said, you can stack charms up to 5 times, and then you can nuke with Lilith. With Lilith's skill 2, that does AoE and applies charms as well, and the fact that she has other mechanics that can allow her to apply charms on top of being able to apply AoE charms with Alice, it's a very good combo if you're looking to do some really quick, hard-hitting damage. So that's very, very good. And let's keep going. So her support, Wonderland, because, of course, she's Alice in Wonderland. Duh. Gains 1 energy when battle begins. After casting this ability, gains 3 energy, 50% chance to gain 1 extra energy, which would be 4. Hello, Energizer Bunny. Call Duracell. We found their bunny. Ability upgrades when hero reaches 5 stars. Of course, it goes up further. So she's ridiculous. She's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, she's absolutely ridiculous. I like this unit. I'm a very big fan of this unit. You could even probably make an argument for she might be the best support SR in the game, if not the best SR in the game. There is an argument to be made for that, depending on what your team setup is, because she does her job so well that you look at her and you're like, man, that's not even an SR. That character is just, that's a UR all day long. That's how good she is, because she's giving you free substance, okay? And if you're running like a high cost team that uses a lot of 2 and 3 cost energy skills through a full rotation, she's going to go in there and help you with that problem. So you can run stronger abilities without, being liable for the cost and being screwed over, let's say like at, the 4th or 5th unit that comes out in that turn and they can't use their moves because you're out of energy. She's going to mitigate that problem. She's going to help with that problem. And in some regards, she might even completely eliminate that problem. And if you're running more of a cheaper cost team, you'll be able to use more of those skills than you were before. You'll be able to spam them more often, especially if they're skills that don't have a cooldown. There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with Alice. You can run her from the support slot as well for that, big chunk of energy when you need it. She's ridiculous. She's a very solid unit. So that brings us to our 3rd unit that I want to talk about today. Let me just go ahead and find her. Let's keep going. Where did I put her? She's definitely at the top somewhere. I know we passed her up. There she is. Our girl, Pandora. Pandora's box full of goodies for all of you to enjoy. So, what does Pandora do? Why is she so good? She is a buffer. She is a buffer that does stupid damage if you run her in a proper team. So, if you run her from the support slot, you're going to be using her primarily as an AoE defense up and an attack buffer for whatever unit that you need. Usually it's from the left side on auto. I believe it always uses the far left side character when you do your character's positioning. Not when they attack in the attack order, but the actual positioning that you put them in your team. I believe on auto she always targets the farthest left character. And usually that's where my Lilith is, so it always works out perfectly on auto. But if you run her manually, obviously you can select. But she gives 1 DPS unit an attack up, and then everyone gets a defensive up buff, which is really good if you're running a couple tanks to your team, especially like a Dracula, and you want to try to lower the impact that he's taking for your team. So she's very good from that sub slot, from that support slot. But you can run her in your main team. And she's another one of those purple units, those dark units. So she can be part of that 3 or 5 man comp that allows you to get that additional 10 to 20% damage up for your other purple units like Jester, like Lilith. Just, very, very solid. And we'll talk about why her damage is very, very good on her skill 2 in a moment. But let's go ahead and go through her skills real quick. So, Cost of Corruption, her talent, her passive. Increases crit by 6% up to 18% at the beginning of each turn. Deals an additional 20% damage to enemies with more than 50% HP. So you want to use her skill 2 on that turn 1 when they're still at full HP or at the start of a new wave. That way she can do the maximum amount of damage that she possibly can. And there's also artifacts, aka gems, that if you get enough of certain gems, they will give you an additional buff for targeting against enemies that are 50% HP or higher, which will go perfectly with her for doing even more damage. And we'll talk about gems and stuff like that in another video, but just a little combo there for some of you guys out there that are already out there being gem enthusiasts. Alright, so her basic attack deals magic damage equal to 100%, yada 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 on basic attacks. So, her 3 cost skill, 3 energy, demonic gift, starts charging after 3 turns, deals magic damage equal to 530% of intelligence to target. This attack ignores protection, guaranteed to land a critical strike if target is inflicted with stun, freeze, petrify, or sleep. So if she gets debuffed after she already triggers a skill, it's going to be a critical hit no matter what. But with the way her passive works, she usually does pretty well with critting anyway. Attacks another random enemy if the original target gets killed before charging is completed. If this ability kills the target while Butterfly Illusion is still active, extends Butterfly Illusion's duration by 2 turns. Charging will be interrupted if caster is inflicted with stun, freeze, petrifies, or sleep. Butterfly Illusion increases own intelligence, magic defense, and physical defense by 20% for 3 turns. Can't be removed. And then, of course, Butterfly Illusion is her ultimate. Increases own intelligence, magic defense, physical defense by 20% for 3 turns. Automatically cast 1 time upon entering the battle. So she just casts it immediately, which is phenomenal. Which, again, goes further into the fact that her skill 2 does so much damage. That's why it is a 3 cost. That is why it has no cooldown, because it is a ton of damage. Now, it is worded a bit incorrectly, though. It's not actually after 3 turns. She actually will do the attack after 5 actions have been made. I don't know why it says 3 turns. I don't know if it's a mistranslation or what. But it's actually not after 3 turns that she does the attack. She actually does the attack after 5 actions. So if she goes 5th in your team and you pop that on turn 1, that's not going to be good. So you want her to have a little bit of speed so she can go a little bit sooner, because the enemies might even get 1 or 2 licks in before you bust out her move. And she can use her move even after the enemy takes their turn as well, because it's you take a turn, your enemy takes a turn, and it's based on speed. So it's not like I get to go through my whole rotation and then they get to go through their whole rotation and then we go back and forth. No, I take my move if I'm faster than them, and then we go through all the different units, and then we go back around, we spin around the cycle, and then we start over again. So basically, after you pop her skill, 5 actions, and then boom, she pops it, and it hits hard. I'm already hitting with her right now at just 2,000 rating. Sometimes I'm critting for 80, 90k on that attack, and she's only got maybe a little over 4k attack right now. So it's not all that much at this moment. She's only a 4-star too. I still have more dupes I need to put into her. I have better gear I need to put on her, and she's already critting for 80, 90k on her skill 2 because of the way the talent works, the way the demonic gift works itself, the way her ultimate is just triggered at the start of the fight. It's ridiculous. It's actually ridiculous. And her support, if you want to run her as a support, gains 1 energy when battle begins. Grants all allies 1 stack of defense up. Very good buff. Grants the target ally 1 stack of attack up. Damage reduction plus 10% for 2 turns, stacks up 3 times. Same thing can go for the attack up. After casting this ability, gains 2 energy, and ability upgrades when a hero reaches 5 stars, which I'm hoping to do at some point soon. We need 75 more. So that is my personal 3 favorite SRs in the game right now. They all have unique things that they can bring to the table. We have, an Energizer Bunny that can provide you as an energy battery for your team. So if you want to run a lot of high-cost teams, she's going to be in there. If you want to run some medium-cost teams, she's going to be in there. If you need to have a unit that does a really solid sleep debuff with Charm to kind of, pair up well with a strong unit like Lilith, you have that. You got units that can do strong single target damage with Pandora and Jester. Jester also has very, very good AoE damage and debuffs in his own right. So you're getting a little bit of everything here. And then you also have buffs that you can give to your team if you run from the support slot with, of course, Pandora. So you have a little bit of everything going on between those 3 units. Alice can also tank as well, as we mentioned. So those are my personal 3 favorite SRs right now in the game, especially if you are free to play. Now, one of my honorable mentions that I just want to briefly, because I know some people will probably bring it up, and I want to make sure that I get to her, spoiler alert, before we get out of here. Let me just find her real quick. There are other SRs that are very, very good, guys, by the way, that fill different roles. If you have the right gem setup, Venus is very good as well. You can kind of abuse her healing. And I mean abuse it if you have the right gem setup. But she's not the honorable mention that I want to talk about. But she is very solid, among others. There's a lot of solid units in this game, guys. Do not worry. Actually, I don't think I have her. I don't think she's in the general pull banner. Or I just have been very unlucky and did not get her for some reason. Alright, well, let's get out of that panel. Let's just go to this panel. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way, guys. We have the technology. All right, let's go down here and find our girl. Okay, where's she at? We don't own her, so she should be down here. There she is. Hattori Hanzo. If you're running a fire comp team, she's pretty dang good. And I wanted to give her an honorable mention because a lot of people are going to bring up, well, what about Hattori Hanzo? She's good. Okay, she's not one of my top 3 personal favorites, obviously, but she is worth the mention. Let's go ahead and talk about her talent real quick. Physical evasion plus 5%. So physical attack evasion, 5%. Basic, deals physical damage equal to 100% of strength to a single enemy and inflicts 1 stack of slow. So this is one of those very rare, characters that actually has something additional on their basic attack. You don't see that very often. But she's one of those characters that has that. So she inflicts 1 stack of slow, minus 15 speed for 2 turns, stacks up to 3 times. So if you pop that off, 2 times at least in the 2 turns, you're going to be lowering your speed by 30. So you're going to be able to make an enemy very slow, which could help you kind of get a little bit of board control, if you will, by being able to spam your attacks more before they can, maybe allowing you to take a little bit of control of the battle and winning it. Her skill. Deals physical damage equal to 350% of strength to a single enemy and inflicts 1 stack of slow. The next Hell Naraku, additionally inflicts 1 stack of forbearance. Speed minus 15 for 2 turns, stacks of 3 times like we already mentioned with slow. And then forbearance is upon taking a critical strike, receives physical damage equal to 50% of Hattori Hanzo's strength, stacks up to level 3. So, when she crits, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And now, her ultimate, Hell Naraku, or Naraku, however you want to say it. It's only a 2 cost as well. By the way, her skill is a 2 cost too. So, she's going to be one of those units that, if you want to utilize both her skills, it will cost you 4 energy. Either, just keep that in mind. So, you want to be very efficient with your skill usage. But anyways, her ultimate, 2 cost. And there are ultimates out there that are 3 costs. So, that's why I say when I see 2 cost ultimates, I feel like that's kind of like, oh, that's a cheap cost. Because I know 3s exist and they're more expensive. Deals physical damage equal to 150% of strength to all enemies and inflicts 1 stack of forbearance. The next, Aiga Shadow deals an additional 30% damage. Forbearance, again, we already talked about what it can do. critical strike, and of course that ability upgrades at Awakened +5, which I believe is level 30, level 35, somewhere in there. So she's really good. She's really good DPS as well. Very good DPS. And the reason why I say she's good in a fire comp is because I feel like some of the units right now that are in fire that like have ignites and stuff like that, I feel like she just fits in that comp better because you want her to crit. And you want her to crit a lot because her entire skill set involves her critting because that's when she's going to do the most damage. And if you run a 5-man fire team, you know, out of your 8 units, you're getting 30% crit. So kind of like Lucifer, crits are very, very important for this unit. So, you know, running her in a 5-man team would work well. Plus she can, you know, she can combo well with ignites that you'll get, I believe, from Michael. So, you know, another fire user, another fire unit, you know, fire it up, baby. You got your Draculas in there as well. He's a fire unit. You know, let's get the party started. Let's eat this shit up. Didn't mean to drop the S-bomb, but it happened. Forget about it. You didn't hear a thing. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is all we have for this video. I know it's kind of a long-winded video, but I wanted to make sure that I discussed why I feel strongly about these units, why I feel the way I do, why I feel that they fit in certain teams we've talked about, how they can be utilized. Maybe I've talked about some combos that you never even thought to use with these units, and now maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to go try that out. Maybe you'll come up with some new ones, and you can let me know in the comment section below or in our Discord, which you can find in the description below as well. And I hope you guys all enjoyed videos like this. If you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. And guys, let's try to share this game, get some more eyes on the product, because this game definitely deserves some more attention. It's a very well put together game and has a lot to offer, and hopefully we can keep it going because I just think the game has some great potential, and with the way 2020 is went, we could use all the potential we can get. So until then, guys, have an awesome one. Don't forget to subscribe, tick notifications, like the video if you did, comment below, join the Discord, go over to I can't talk tonight, guys. Go on over to Twitter and follow me at JoshFirst, and I'll catch you guys and gals in the next one. Until then, as always, peace.